today should be a day of rejoicing, Hanukkah. There was another day of rejoicing about a month ago, and it's all turned sour this time. Bondi Beach, of all places, in Australia. What information are you getting at the moment, Maurice?
Well, I've just been listening to the Australian Prime Minister. You know, around the world, generally, prime ministers of many countries are giving out the signal, an anti-Semitic signal to the populace. There's no argument about that. Just an example. Let's take England. Let's take, what's his name? Sir, whatever he calls himself, saying, we'll recognize Palestine as a state. He said that prior to any agreement with Trump peace plan. It sets a precedent telling Hamas, what you did on October the 7th, we're going to reward you by recognizing the state of Palestine. And that was followed by many other countries as well. This instills hatred. It used to be that people would hide behind their anti-Semitism, hide behind the war in Israel. Oh, we're not anti-Semitic, not at all. We're anti-Zionist, we're anti-Israel. That's worn thin now, and people are now leaving that aside and just say, yeah, we're anti-Semitic. Let me give you an example. A very good doctor friend of mine from New York came over the other day, 2 days ago. He sits beside me in the synagogue and we're having dinner afterwards. And he was telling me when he got on the plane, a woman sitting beside him, so it was him and his wife in 3 seats, him and his wife and the woman on the inside by the window, called the hostess and said to her, do you mind moving me, please? I don't want to sit next to a Jew. The reason she knew he was Jewish, of course, he was wearing a kapel, his yarmulke. In Australia, only 2 days ago, I saw a video of a woman on a bus and a young Jewish family boarding the bus, mother, father, and a young daughter. She turned on them and she said, the gas chamber forgot you two, you three. The hatred is rising at a speed that's getting out of control. And my question is why do you hate Jews? You understand in Israel, there's millions of Jews who marched against the war. Do you hate all them as well? Do you hate me because I'm Jewish? What have I got to do with the war? I'm a pacifist. I'm against war, totally. But they see their hatred, which was born during the Nazi period. It was joy. In fact, every century, anti-Semitism has been prevalent. Let me tell you about an interview I did with a Polish survivor of the Holocaust. I asked him that very question. Why do you think there's anti-Semitism? And he said, as a child, he used to play on the street football with all the other kids who were very few of them were Jewish. But on Sunday, they all went to mass, the non-Jewish kids. And they all came home saying, you killed Jesus, you killed Jesus, Jews killed Jesus, ha, ha, ha. And he said, I believe that's where it all stems from. All inbred, believing that the Jews killed Jesus. And yet, I said the other day in one of my recordings, that in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, millions of Christians will be going to church, mass, whatever. Not all anti-Semitic, all Semites, excuse me, it's early in the morning for me, anti-Semites, but there's a majority, not a majority, but a small minority maybe of Christians who are anti-Semites. And yet they'll all be celebrating the birth of a Jew born in Israel. And after church, they'll be hanging around our Christmas tree singing, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, or I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, written by a Jew. Rudolph, written by a Jew. Most of the Christmas songs are written by Jewish composers. It gets me. What is it? A jealousy? Was this man on the Bondi Beach picking up there's 2 of them picking up guns and just gunning down like Nazis used to Jews? Is that what it's all about? You remember, it's as a Jew tonight. I'm going to celebrate Hanukkah at my synagogue. There'll be a very big crowd there, and I'm just hoping and praying this will trigger off some sort of police security tonight. We've got 3 major synagogues here. So it's very sad, but we won't dwell on it the whole show.
Well, we've got a lot of truth there, Maurice. Not the whole truth. Can I perhaps put something else in as well? You've mentioned jealousy. I'm sure there is a certain amount of jealousy. The Jews have done what many nations could not, would not do in many ways. They're clever people. They've invented many, many unique things. Perhaps there's a bit of jealousy there. But I refer back to your Bible, our Old Testament. And thousands of years ago, it was written, there will always be enmity between Jew and Arab. That's an important factor. That's just how it is.
You know where that stems from?
Yes?
It stems from the Shema. The Shema is our most important prayer. Shema Yisrael Ad Hashem Eloheinu Ad Hashem Echad. It means, Hear, O Israel, Lord our God, the Lord is one. It's been misinterpreted by the Arabs as they believe the Jews think the Lord is one, they're one. The truth is, there is just one Lord, maybe with many different names, but there's just one God.
The problem is, of course, that people think, on one hand, that Allah is the same God as our God, the Christian God, the Jewish God.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No, but this is what they think. Doesn't mean it's true.
Indeed, it doesn't. And the problem has got to be sorted out. You mentioned Sir Keir Starmer and his Irish counterpart. And we mentioned last week about the Eurovision Song Contest. It's absurd. These people must know the truth at that level of government, and yet they choose the other way. When people are singing that basically they want to get rid of the Jews, even through their slogans, from the river to the sea, etc., that means annihilating the Jews. And yet still, and yesterday again in London, they were allowing Palestinians, Hamas supporters, to get away with it. And it goes even deeper. The Green Party are advocating this, and they're one of the few parties that are increasing in value in numbers being supported. They appear to be coming from mainly young women. It's bizarre. These people are not thinking.
Yeah, it's bizarre because these 12 people who have been massacred, and there's many more injured, so we maybe have more deaths in Australia this morning. These people, these 12 people, the way that they will be looked upon, it's that Israel is at fault. That's why they're dead. It's Israel's fault. That's why they're dead. Israel is the excuse to kill them, not the reality. But anyway, I think that it's, you can imagine I get some terrible mail on these people are cowards because they put their mail on my messenger. And they keep talking about genocide and ethnic cleansing. The stupidity of it all, which I'll try to finish with, is that genocide, if Israel, one of the finest armies in the world, is recognized by all armies, wanted to commit genocide, there wouldn't be 2.5 million people still alive. It makes a nonsense of it. And ethnic cleansing, who did they cleanse? They say 70,000 people died on this war. Well, I say to these people who write to me, I say, yeah, but 65,000 of them are Hamas terrorists. And they write to me and say to me, how do you know that? And I say, from the same sources you know that 70,000 are dead, from the Gaza health authorities, which are Hamas. And yet you believe them. You believe them. They say 200 people have been killed since the ceasefire. There's 1.5 million iPhones or cell phone cameras in Gaza. The young people love using them. You think if there was 100 dead bodies or starving people, they'd film it all. There's nothing. Of course, war is horrible. The innocents that are dying. You know, just quickly here, the reason that there are so many innocent Palestinians dying is because, and it's a simple thing to look at, and then they don't argue back with me. Look at any video that you can find or photograph of Hamas. Okay, you'll see them in your full uniforms with their green headbands clearly. Okay, but when they're fighting or hiding or shooting at the Israelis, they're dressed in civil clothes. And sometimes the IDF doesn't know who the hell's shooting at them. It's a cowardly thing to do. It's called the human shield. People think the human shield is grabbing someone and then standing behind them with a gun. No, it's not. A human shield is dressing. It's a war crime in dressing in civil clothes and mixing in with crowds of civilians to disguise yourself and using them as a shield. And that's why so many civilians have died. But no one who is anti-Zionist, anti-Israeli, or pro-Hamas, no one seems to recognize these things. They do, but they don't want to. They want to spread hatred. So when I see what's happening in Bondi Beach this morning or this afternoon, what time it is there, evening, I blame the governments for spreading hatred. And this Eurovision thing just puts more fuel on the fire. That's all I have to say.
I agree with you, Maurice. I hold individual prime ministers responsible for this. They must know. They've got secret services. They've got MI5. They've got whatever they need, and they choose to go on the other path. And before this horrible event, we were going to chat today about some video film which we daren't show that's just come out of Gaza and other places, showing the murder in tunnels, people pleading for their lives in Gaza tunnels, and with no mercy, bang, bang, they're gone.
Well, that video, one of the videos you might be talking about was last year, that 6 or 7 of the held in, don't I remember when you've been held in the tunnel for a couple, there's no windows, there's no light in there at all. And it showed a video, it's on public video on YouTube, of, I think it was about 6 Jewish prisoners attempting to light the Hanukkah candles. They had little things, and it was filmed by Hamas. And I've always said this, and not just me, but Hamas, the difference between Hamas and the Nazis tried to hide their war crimes. But Hamas has great pride in filming everything, massacres, everything, and they send it out to the families. These people, these 6 people who were lighting it, they weren't Hanukkah candles, just little bits of wax that they were lighting, and they were singing a Jewish song. Those 6 people, or 10 people, I'm not sure how many, were all then massacred, slaughtered. And the film was sent to their families. Hamas think this is great to do that. And a girl the other day, it's in all the press, in hospital, was being injected by the doctor with air, and she's pleading for her life. And they're filming it and sending it to her parents. So there can't be any denying any of this. I can say, no, I don't believe that there are people starving in Gaza. I mean, when I say people, there could be, they're starving all over the world. But I'm talking about, I don't believe that thousands of children are starving in Gaza. Number one, any of the videos that you ever see with children, even in the floods today, standing at their tent with water, they're not starving children. And the big fat mothers. So I'm sorry, but what I'm talking about, what Hamas filmed, that's reality. Gaza was filmed by Hamas and released to a 45-minute film that all the press were invited to. Some of them were seen on television leaving and vomiting halfway through the film. The film can never be made public because these people, 1,500 people that were slaughtered, they've got families. Some of the women that were raped on camera, they're not going to show that, but they've been seen, not by Jewish, by the press in a 45-minute film. And I believe, what's her name, was brought there? The Dutch girl, what's her name? The girl, she's the auntie, she tried to float hell into Gaza. She's always turning up and protesting, this young girl. She was made to go to the film, and she put her head down and refused to watch it. She'd rather live with her hatred.
You got a point there. So many people have got their head in the sand. We're in peculiar times,
Oh my
different
God.
times. And the warnings are there, Maurice.
No one's taking any heed to these warnings. No one's doing anything about it. They knew this Hanukkah parade was taking place in Bondi. This is the press just now. They knew that this parade was taking place. There'd be hundreds of Jewish people there. The first thing that the government would do is put security. Very heavy security. They were warned. Anyway, you know, whatever I say, everybody always looks at me and say, "Oh, he's biased, he's Jewish." I'm trying to be human.
Of course you're biased, of course you're Jewish. I'm a Christian, I'm biased as well towards the Jews. But the majority of people hate things like this, Maurice. It's just our governments choose to look the other way. And we're going to finish there, Maurice. Normally we go on to lighter subjects. We will not today. It is not the right thing to do.
Not at all. There's nothing to it.
Well, and our prayers are with the Jewish nation.
Thank you, Rodney, and good to speak to you. You keep well too. We'll speak before the new year or before Christmas. Well, happy Christmas to you.
Thank you very much.
I hope that you have a very, very happy Christmas. And we'll speak shortly.